Respected all the panel members present in this important session on allied sector, which we have organized as part of Managed Dialogue 2020, the future of agricultural extension and advisory services. We are very happy to have the esteemed presence of distinguished extension professionals representing the allied sector situation from the whole of the country. I am very happy to introduce all the distinguished extension professionals in this particular important panel discussion on the allied sector extension. First of all, I would like to take this opportunity to welcome and also to briefly introduce the esteemed speaker of the day, Professor and Dr. Vishnu Sharma, Vice Chancellor, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Rajasthan University of Veterinary and Animal Science, Bikaner. Sir, you also have been held the positions of Vice Chancellors of SK Rajasthan Agriculture University, Bikaner, and Jai Narayan Vyas University, Jodhpur. Sir had the working experience for few years in Addis Ababa in Ethiopia, and for his contribution, he received several appreciations for his services. There are many students who have been benefited with his guidance, both the PhDs and the postgraduate students, for their research work in animal nutrition. Sir has served as a member of Rajasthan Livestock Policy Formulation Committee, member of Animal Husbandry Vision 2025 in Rajasthan, consultant to the Rajasthan Go Seva Ayog, Government of Rajasthan, member of state level core subgroup for animal husbandry, the planning body of the state constituted by the Planning Department, Government of Rajasthan, Jaipur. And Sir also held the honorary consultant to the Green Earth Foundation, which is known for its environmental contribution in the state for environmental issues. Sir, we are very happy to have you, a distinguished faculty from the allied sectors, and also a key contributor in the animal science division in the whole of the country. We are very happy to welcome to Managed Dialogue 2020. I am happy to introduce the next speaker of the day, Dr. V. Venkatasubramanin, sir, very well-known person in the field of agricultural extension, presently working as Director ICAR at RKVY Bengaluru. His vast experience includes his earlier position of Assistant Director General in the ICAR headquarters and the Zonal Project Director of Northeastern Region, Managing Director and CEO of Vijaya Dairy, Andhra Pradesh, and he held several important positions in several institutions of ICAR like CTRI Rajahmundry, CRI Port Blair, IVRI Izzatnagar, Tamil Nadu Veterinary and Animal Science University. His work has been recognized nationally and internationally with several awards. To be very specific, he had received 25 awards and honors like Young Scientist from the NAS, Meritorious Invention Award of the NRDC, NBT Awards, Industrial Excellence Award, National Award for Corporate Leadership, and National Best Entrepreneurship Award 2005. He is also the member of academic bodies like the Board of Management, Board of Studies, Academic Council, Planning Board, Research Council, etc. of several state agriculture universities, and also he has held the membership of various management and advisory bodies. Sir also has several publications, more than 200 publications to his credit including 30 books, several book chapters, research articles. He is also presently the member of Governing Board, ASCI, Government of India, and the expert committee member of the National Biodiversity Authority, Board of Directors, SEDSI, which are two very important policy-making bodies in the national setup and scenario. So we warmly welcome you to this Managed Dialogue 2020, sir, and we look forward for your thoughtful and insightful discussion. Maybe Dr. D.V.Rangnekar is having some issue in joining the panelists forum, but I quickly take this opportunity to welcome him. He is in the Board of Management of Narendra Dev Veterinary and Animal Sciences University, Jabalpur, Madhya Pradesh, and Chairman of IIGAM GMA Academic and Advisory Board. He has worked with Amul Dairy, Anand, Sinamate India, Mumbai, BIF, Development Research Foundation, several ICR institutes like Equine Research Center in Hisar, and Goat Research Center in Magdum in Mathura. He also worked with National Dairy Development Board, Anand, Suzlon Foundation, Pune, Maharashtra State Livelihood Mission, and Creative Agri Solutions Private Limited, and also the CASPL of Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. His contribution to the sector is remarkable, and his journey with the Windrock International for training the senior livestock officers from Bangladesh is quite well known. In fact, sir has also contributed the research reports for the CGIR system. So we welcome you, sir. And another important panelist and our own Dr. Mahesh Chandra, sir, who is currently the Joint Director Extension Education, Indian Council of Agriculture Research, IVRI. He is associated with several national and international professional bodies dealing with agricultural extension. His passion for agricultural extension, animal science and veterinary extension is quite well established, and he is a very good orator and a very good writer. He has been associated with several professional bodies who are actively engaged in the extension, teaching and research. He has been a member of Advisory Committee of Agribusiness Incubation Cell and Institute Technology Management Committee at IVRI, and also coordinating the Entrepreneurship Development course. He has been a member secretary as well as the member of the 11th and 12th subgroups on the Planning Commission on Livestock Technology Transfer Service, Government of India. So we are very happy to have you in this panel, sir. And probably I request your esteemed presence also to take the session forward with the moderation of important dignitaries present here, sir. Dr. Arpita Sharma, Madam, we are very happy to have you. And Madam is a very well-known scientific fraternity especially in the field of IPR issues touching the extension field. She is presently working as a principal scientist in the Social Science Division of ICAR, Central Institute of Fisheries Education, Mumbai. And her expertise in diverse areas of fisheries, especially on the IPR issues, the grassroots innovations, ITK, gender, livelihood and development, communication, human resource management, monitoring and evaluation programs are well appreciated. She has been the chair and co-chair for several important panel discussions in international conferences in different countries like USA, Canada, Thailand, and many forums in India. She has very rich experience of intellectual property rights, trade and gender and social issues, and international business. Probably a very fitting personality to address the issues on the allied sector extension and the IPR issues correlated. We welcome you, Madam, in the Managed Dialogue 2020. And I request Professor Mahesh Chandra, sir, to start the initiative and also to lead the discussion. And probably Mahesh Chandra, sir, will, I think, start with all the panel members, starting from Dr. Vishnu Sharma, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Mahantes. It's my pleasure to be here today. I'm grateful to Manage for giving me this responsibility to talk today. So I am also enriched by my colleagues, other speakers who are having vast experience, very diversified, right from Dr. Vishnu Sharma to Dr. Rangnekar, and Dr. Arpita, our own Venkatasubramanin. He has been at various places, at different places in ICR, and has contributed immensely. So it's Dr. Rangnekar completed PhD even before I was born. Such a senior people over 80 years, you can rightly say that he's a grand young man of this profession. So he did PhD from IVRI itself and animal nutrition in the various organizations he served as a practitioner, Bay, Family Dairy and several dairies, lot of experience. So often we receive emails from him, long emails discussing some technical. Often we are confined to individual-based discussions, but he is issue-based person who always speaks about, asks our opinion, what we feel about this issue. So Dr. Vishnu Sharma, of course, so I think that among the young who are the Vice Chancellor heading the veterinary university, so he's having also a lot of experience abroad as well as within the country and having experience from several committees Dr. Arpita also, it is chicken fisheries, allied. Sometimes I wonder, some people don't like this word using allied. You say we are not less important. We are equally important. Sometimes so I take it in this way. For living, eating cereals and vegetables is fine. But if you want to live better, healthier life, long life, good life, so you have to eat animal source food, you have to eat fruits. This horticulture is a part of livestock, horticulture and sericulture. Not only you have to eat fruits and eggs, meat, milk, but also you have to dress well. For that silk come from sericulture. That is also part of allied agriculture. So we'll be talking about this, and then I'll request, before I request their presentation, I would like to set the tone for discussions by making a small presentation, mostly on livestock. So, allied sector constitute livestock, fisheries, horticulture, and sericulture, as I told that. So, we are having expert on fisheries, and Dr. Subramanian can take up, in fact, he can take up everything. Being an Atari director, so he handles everything, so he can do justice wherever we are missing. A bit of livestock, I can talk. Dr. Vishnu, Dr. Rangnekar, all of us will be talking mostly about livestock. We feel that livestock is very important. Horticulture is no less important. Allied sector has been indicated having very high potential in almost all documents on the doubling the farmers' income. If you look at Dalwai Committee report, so it talks hugely about this allied sector, especially livestock and horticulture, and fisheries also, how much potential it has, and rather it has given importance to these factors now. They should be given preference and attention. So also, ICR has developed state-specific extension strategies or doubling the farmers' strategies. So all of these, they talk a lot about livestock and agriculture and fisheries, horticulture, as far as this doubling the farmers' income is concerned. So many committees, including NITI Aayog, has observed extension in allied sector is weak. You take any document, even this 5-year plan, this subgroups on extension, they have said, and they went to the extent of having a separate subgroup on livestock since 10th of that plan onwards, because they thought that it is very important. So we have to have separate from agriculture extension. They created an animal husbandry extension subgroup to give attention to this sector. So what we have realized is, looking at all these reports, is funds, manpower, and infrastructure like vehicles, audiovisual aids, and this kind of they are not available there. So extens to carry out extension activity. Some veterinary universities I have seen, they are having at least a well-equipped van to take up extension activities or animal husbandry extension or veterinary service even. So but that in many universities it is not there. So just to be effective, it is required. And also we have seen the State Department of Animal Husbandry are allocating very little budget for extension. In our study, we found 1 to 3%. Generally, it is less than 1%. They are spending on extension. Also, at the central government level, spending on extension is very big. Whatsoever they are allocating, also that is not being spent. I saw in the 11th plan, they sanctioned 15 crore rupees. I was member of that committee. And then 15 crore, we asked for 250 crore rupees for 5 years for extension activities across the country. They allocated only 15%. And what we saw at the end of the 11th plan, only 1,000 rupees was spent. That they might have organized some meeting at some place, and that money remained unspent. It means that there was no program the state did not come forward to spend the money to use. So that is the state of affairs as far as allocation and spending of money in animal husbandry extension is concerned. Available staff lacks capacity to meet new demands coming from farmers and other actors in value chains. So that is another issue. In one of the rapid survey recently, I saw that 54% of the staff, they were saying that they are lacking in capacity. And also, if you look at the capacity related to new dimensions in extension, like market-led extension. Yesterday, the PDG extension was telling, it is over 90% of the extension functionaries were lacking capacities in market-led extension. So it means there is no awareness. Actually, we are living in the age where market-oriented extension is required. So that is also this slide is moving forward without I complete it. So if another side, what is happening? If you look at the consumption of the animal source food is so poor. There are per capita availability is over 300 eggs per year. For example, in Andhra Pradesh, it is just 13 eggs in UP. In my own state, 13 eggs and over 346 eggs for availability. You see, huge regional variations. Within the states also there are variation as far as meat as consumption is there. In case of milk, availability is now as per ICMR recommendation is so fine. But if you look at regional variations, it is huge variations are there. Also meat, per capita availability is right now only 4 kg per person per year, whereas 11 kg is required. So that speaks about the opportunity, huge opportunity. Just we have to work so that availability improves. Affordability also need to be improved, and consumer also need to be made aware why it is important to consume animal source foods or fruits even. So then entrepreneur now to remedy, as a remedy, entrepreneurship is being talked about, startups, value addition, minimizing post-harvest losses by efficient processing are some of the interventions being talked about in many exchange programs. So there are huge extension infrastructure we are having or by organization. If you look at Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, then ICR is there, State Department of Animal Husbandry, there KVKs are there, so many now private players are also there, cooperatives, mass media, and different ways we are trying to. But in National Sample Survey Office in 2005 reported that only 5% households access any information on animal husbandry against 40% farm households accessing information on crops. Somebody would say that this is old data, but what I believe that this is such a vast gap. Even in these years, this gap might not have been filled so much. So it means that there is a lot of scope even now to change the situation. Slides are not shifting, it seems something. So this is actually, these are some of the random slides I have put in just to give some idea about. If you look at this, why livestock is very important for achieving zero hunger. So let's, if you look at the left hand side, this map of India, whole of southern India and eastern part of India, they are good at consuming animal source foods. In comparison to western part of India, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan and all, they are mostly vegetarian. But even those who are consuming, they are consumers traditionally of animal source food, availability is very less. For example, 180 eggs per annum is required for a healthy living. So only 79 eggs per annum is required. It is even less than the half availability. So also meat. So what is happening as a consequence? There is under 5 stunting is there, wasting, and prevalence of anemia, especially among more than 50% of the pregnant women, they suffer from anemia. Most of these ailments can be overcome. These problems, health problems can be overcome if we can ensure sufficient quantity of animal source food for the consumers. So, but that is what is lacking. So it is lacking because of the feed fodder situation also. This is not sufficient for the livestock. And also again we say that extension is weak, that we are not able to ensure feed and fodder also. So then we are doing this kind of, some kind of extension activities are being taken up to remedy the situation. So groups are there, and progressive farmers can complement extension efforts. This was many of organizations, they are trying to do that by inducting this progressive farmers into. So then capacity building is also required. For example, organic certification. What is happening? I will tell you. Suppose a veterinary officer is approached by a progressive farmer that he wants to switch over to organic production, organic agriculture or organic livestock. So what that veterinary officer is generally saying, or extension functionary for that matter, he says that don't do it. The farmer asks, sir, I am saying that I want to switch over to organic. You tell me how to do it. Extension functionary is telling don't do it. So I ask, do you know it? So that person doesn't know it. So this is what. So now slowly demand is coming for livestock certification for organic. For example, last year I trained Rajasthan Organic Certification Agency inspectors, training for Who will do it? If we are not doing extension, people are not doing, who is going to do it? Like Aditi Certification from Bangalore, they requested our help, and I went there, trained their inspectors, those who are going to inspect or certify organic livestock units. That is the emerging demand, and for that there is no capacity among extension people. So likewise, new breed of farmers are coming in. You see, this is a farmer. He is going for organic milk production. He is being held by ICR Norm Agribusiness Incubator. So do we have this kind of incubators to support this kind of emerging farmers? These farmers, thanks to internet, are very much aware now. It is very difficult to discuss with these people because a lot of, just like doctors are facing problem. We are approaching to doctor, telling many things to doctor. So doctor scratches his head whether he is doctor or we are doctor. Likewise, these farmers have become very intelligent because of this thing. So it's a challenge before extension functionaries how to meet their demand. So you see this part, Srikan Mannan from outskirts of Hyderabad, he has developed a poster also, Sorrow Organic Milk, and has acquired a lot of information. So in order to have a dedicated, to cater to the needs of the dedicated consumers who approach him for a good quality milk. So likewise, you see this kind of what is happening abroad, say for example in Korea, livestock units for organic holdings. So we need capacities in this area. Just I am giving example of organic. So there could be some other areas also where we need capacities, improved capacities so that we can meet the requirements of the farmers. So this kind of a market scenario, are you, we have to ask ourselves, are we ready for this kind of development? Original Ayurveda bio ghee, who is going to give technical advice on these matters to farmers? Do we have capacity to cater to the needs of this packaged milk, for example, in Tetra Packs, for the qualities for shelf-life improved? So this kind of a market, packed chicken, organic certified chicken acts. So then the entrepreneurship development programs are being talked about. RKVY-RAFTAAR, Manage is also having. We also have this program. So we are having some program, Samriddhi and Navodaya. Government has provided funds to give grants to enterprising people. So we are supporting. Last year, 13 farmers have supported. Entrepreneurship development program, thanks to the that one that now we are having that entrepreneurship course at the UG level in veterinary. So now in all SIUs, state veterinary universities, undergraduate program is on entrepreneurship development is being, so that young generation can be trained on entrepreneurship. Especially extension people need this. So these kind of entrepreneurs are coming up, which we are supporting. You see fruit waste, how it can be converted into these pellets for animal feeding, it's a fabricated machine. So under RKVY-RAFTAAR, we are granting 13 lakh rupees to this entrepreneur from Jodhpur, Hemansi. He underwent training for 2 months at IBRI. So this youth need training, so that youth is being emphasized in all the programs now. So all of you will be talking about these issues. I'm simply touching on. So these need to be trained. They need to be shown good farming. What is good farming? So you see this. We have the enterprising farmers. They have become also a knowledge center now. So we take the students to these places so that. So you see this young couple. So if any extension functionary talk with these people, they are not veterinarians. They are not even agriculture people. They are economists, engineers. These are new variety of farmers. Especially they are more attracted towards the livestock rather than growing cereal crops. They are more technical people, engineers now I see that coming forward to take up dairy. This young couple, for example, she has done masters in economics from London and running a dairy. And she was supported by RKVY $5,000 grants. And she is a speaker now at many FAO platforms. So you see, I have written a blog on this. Now this startup, this VVSC final student from Veterinary College Pukur, they competed for this grant under Navodaya scheme. And you see how fancifully they have developed this Gobar Gold. Cow dung manure has been capped under this. So one can easily sell 25 rupees a kg cow dung, whereas many farmers are struggling to get even 25 rupees per milk. They can sell. You see, the way if you keep it in a shopping mall, anybody will grab it to buy it. They will pay. They won't mind paying 100 rupees or 50 rupees per kg even. So cow dung is a business opportunity. Those who are looking only for milk as a product coming from livestock, they are going to be loser. We have to make use of many things, even cow dung. So this, say I was again talking of organic the extension functionaries, they must be updated on what is the current scenario. For example, how many certified units of meat, organic certified units are in the country, milk, poultry, where it is there, how much we are exporting certified organic meat to UAE, all this data. 6,000 crore worth of organic products we are exporting per year. Only small quantities coming from livestock sector. There is a need to expand this portfolio, organic livestock products, or organic food products, for example, horticulture coming from. So even textiles, there are now standard developed for organic textiles, for the silk industry and all these things. So these are the emerging areas, and people need to be aware about this one. So this is story of the entrepreneurs. I just don't want to take much. Only thing is that slides are not moving fast. So this we had this intensive campaign mode about the field, this Napier, this extension about the Napier product crop. So we, for last 2 years, we are promoting about this. Sometime there is a good opportunity in this area. So these, so some people are selling even semen. You know, this farmer was approached, and then he thought why people want to buy his bull. So he developed a good infrastructure for semen processing at his home itself. He is selling semen. Why to sell milk only? Why not other things? So now think global, act local. So what is happening internationally? They are much ahead than us on many aspects. Maybe we are also much ahead than them in many aspects. So right now, what I will give you in that example, sometimes we feel that Western countries are so developed, they know everything. But I have seen in case of organic, I will give again example. So they are now talking how to keep calf together with cow under organic systems. This has been a traditional practice in our country. Now they are learning that thing. So you see this also reverse thing. Also they can learn something from us. Say for example, this is a cheese, 2 years old mature cheese from a certified dairy unit. This farmer was having in Italy, 250 cows, making certified cheese to export to other European countries. And having his own market, I brought for a farmer 1.5 kg pack of from this Bio Hombre, this dairy. A nice video you can see into the net about this dairy, how he is a business oriented, export oriented. So this is what I wanted to say. I want to thank. I am having a very good, very accomplished panelist. I just touched upon some of the issues. So that is not. So I should stop sharing how I can do it. So then I request Mantis, is there any sequence we have made, or I can choose myself?
Sir, you can moderate the discussion, sir. I think Professor Vishnu Sharma sir.
So we welcome Dr. Vishnu Sharma sir, and then he has, as already he has been introduced by Mantis. So sir, I would like to we would like to hear from you, your views on this allied sector, especially from the academic perspective and fields perspective. In Rajasthan, we have heard a lot about extension centers at district level, and university also having regional centers. So we would like to hear all about all these developments, and also we can have questions later on. Professor Vishnu Sharma, please. So you are muted, sir.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Maheshchandra. And first of all, good afternoon to all learned panelists and Dr. Mahantesh, who is moderating and coordinating the program. And thanks to Manage, who has invited me for this Manage Dialogue 2020. And I'm able to contribute and speak and interact with the participants gathered here from the country. First of all, as Dr. Maheshchandra has told, allied sector really, I mean, it gives a different mindset. We should address this issue particularly. It is not allied sector, but all sectors are the main sectors. How one sector can be allied to other, that may be by definition that may be different. But as far as the extension activities requires to address, they should focus as the main center. main sector, because when we go with the mindset of the allied sector, then the farmers themselves pick up those extension activities in an allied way. And if we will focus with the full sector or the full mindset or the complete different scenario, then the farmers will pick up that sector, that advice in a different one thing. Second thing, broad thing I'm speaking, we are now going and learning and addressing the extension. Extension gives a little bit of impression that we are reaching to the farmer, pursuing to the farmer, convincing the farmer to adopt the techniques and technologies. Whereas what gap we have to bridge in times to come, we have to bridge the gap that the word should be replaced by the consultancy, where the farmer will come automatically to the specialist and to the consultant to seek the advice so that that can be benefited. You follow my point? So those are the gaps broadly, policy-wise, planning-wise, we have to address in the long run so that our extension system, what we are calling it, can change radically for the way for which we are talking today. So those are the fundamental changes are required gradually with allowing with our capacities, and then we will able to start up new things. For university, Rajasthan University of Veterinary and Animal Science is one university in the state of Rajasthan. There are 6 universities, 5 agriculture universities and 1 veterinary university. But this veterinary university is having the pan-Rajasthan presence. The jurisdiction area is whole of the Rajasthan. And we are having the Directorate of Extension. We are having organizing training. So far we have organized around 5,000 trainings, and we have trained 1.5 lakh farmers. All data, real data are available. We are doing all normal course of the activities like Vichar Goshti, field days, district level Pashu Mela, collaborating, coordinating with Atma. Exhibitions are regularly going. We are not leaving any chance of exhibiting our university exhibition anywhere, even it is Indian Science Congress or it is Karjri regional, whatever it is. But we believe the importance of exhibition, so we always participate in each and every exhibition. What were challenges I have faced actually? Challenge which I was facing, that the university is having a very limited human resource. Any university, not my university, any university. But we are very, very rich in the capacity, knowledge capacity. But our human resource is limited. Then how to bridge that gap? That was the major challenge for me. We are good in knowledge, we are good in technology, but in Rajasthan there are around 10,000 panchayat, and then how we will reach to each farmer or most of the farmers. So for that, we have to pick up the veterinary officer or the veterinary assistant surgeon or the extension officer in any of the area, in any of the village, and then collaborating with them, we can reach to the farmers, particularly for the livestock extension services I am talking. That was the challenge for me. And then I submitted a proposal to the government of Rajasthan that a university will form a regional animal husbandry extension forum, RAHAT. It was given name RAHAT, R-A-H-T. And then I convinced the state authorities that we have to make a forum where the Government of Rajasthan Animal Husbandry Department, veterinary officers, senior veterinary officers, dairy departments, fishery department, even agriculture department, Gopalan department, whatever related with the livestock, and the university. And university will host the forum, and that forum is spread in our all colleges, and the regional jurisdiction of each college will coordinate with the regional officers, and we will have, like in agriculture they are having in Rabi and Kharif, we will have 2 sessions of Rahat in winter and in summer, and then we will showcase our technologies to the animal husbandry professionals, and they will, in feedback, they will give us that what is required at the field level, at the farmer level, and how the technologies can be refined. I'm happy to share that the government of Rajasthan has accepted my proposal in principle and in toto. And just few days back, I have received the consent, and now the university is initiating the Rahat Forum, with which we will regularly remain in consult with the government of Rajasthan professionals, and it is a forum for the exchange of the information, exchange of the technologies, getting the feedback from the grassroots farmers to the universities for the better refinement of the research and activities. That is the one initiative which I want to share with you all, and we can also initiate such initiatives in various states also, so that the university can reach to the grassroots farmers in a very meaningful way. Another, as Dr. Mahesh was, Dr. Chandra was telling about the organic, I want to share, and Dr. Mahesh Chandra will be happy to listen it also, that I have taken an initiative at the university level, the organic initiative. It was the decade year in the university, and I have taken that that initiative, passed in the Research Council Board of Management, and the administrative orders have been issued that all land, livestock, and product of the university will be converted into the organic one in a phased manner. And we have collaborated with the ROCA and EPIDA, and we are in the process of conversion, and we are receiving regularly the certificates of the land which have been converted or in conversion, or the livestock products are in the process of conversion. And then I have submitted proposal to the government of Rajasthan for educating the farmers for the organic farming method, particularly organic livestock farming. I have received the acceptance of the proposal, and we have given the target of 4,000 farmers to educate for the organic farming. So those are some of the new initiatives, broad initiatives, which I have taken in the Rajuas, and we are now propagating in the particular directions. Dr. Mahesh Chandra. Yeah, Dr. Mahesh Chandra, should I continue or?
You can speak a little further. Say, for example, you can talk about during COVID-19. During COVID-19, did you have some kind of special services for farmers, some kind of a novel or innovative practice program you did during COVID?
Then those were the broad initiatives I have taken, the university has taken. And I was also thinking, because university was not having any RKVY-RAFTAAR program for some of the region, we could not apply that time earlier and we could not receive. So I have hypothesized life cell, livestock, innovation, knowledge, entrepreneurship skill cell. And that proposal we have started in all colleges, life cell, LIKES, with the name of the lives. And then I submitted that proposal to the ICR. I received the grant of 2 crore rupees for the 2 colleges, and third college grant is on the way now, is coming. So factually we have received the grant for 1 crore for each college for the Rahat cell. And that cell has converted into now center with the grant of the ICR. In that Rahat center, we are now doing the same way which we are doing under the RKVY-RAFTAAR. We are now inviting the ideas of the students, now incubate the ideas of those students, and then we will collaborate them, or we will link up with the entrepreneurs or the industrialists, where they can do some of the internship programs, or they can define their research material. So in extension, there are, challenges. It is not only the extension which was 20 years back, when we have to go to the farmers and do the field day program or the demonstration program and then convincing farmer to adopt. the extension services has completely changed in the present era. It's going for the consultancy to the industrialists. It's going for the development of the students as an entrepreneur. These are all are coming under the extension scenario. And I'm happy to share that our university is taking those initiatives, and I'm just sharing those things here also, so that we can also replicate those ideas at other places also. It's not necessary that funds are required. Without funds also we can do. The university is doing 24-hour helpline service for the farmers. 24-hour helpline number we are having. And on this 24-hour helpline number, almost 50,000 odd number of farmers are regularly, every year, are interacting, sometimes 40,000, sometimes 50, 60,000. We are having a rural extension program or the farmer service program from all India centers, all India radio centers, 17 all India radio centers of Rajasthan. It was twice in a month. Our experts are going, and it is delivered and broadcast on every Friday and some other day, 2 times in a month from all India radio of the Rajasthan, of all of the Rajasthan. That is completely for the farmers. We are publishing a regular magazine, Pashupalak Naye Ayam, and 50,000 copies, 5,000 copies are delivering to the farmers every month, Pashupalak Naye Ayam. SMS advisory services, we are having dedicated SMS advisory services, which we are giving SMS at least 6 times a year. When there is disease, change of pattern, change of vaccination is required, all those are giving. We are having the Smart Village initiative, in which we have adopted the village, and one scheme which was going as per the Prime Minister program. Apart from that, we have also taken the Smart Village initiative. We are making the village smart, digitally smart, smart renewable energy wise, smart entrepreneurship wise. These 3 components we have taken, and this is Smart Village initiative. One important thing which I wanted to tell you, that the Rajivas is perhaps the second university after Tanuvas that we are having veterinary university training research center, विश्वविद्यालय प्रशिक्षण एवं अनुसंधान केंद्र. लार्जली ये प्रशिक्षण केंद्र है जो कि हमने राजस्थान की 15 डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स के अंदर एस्टेब्लिश कर रखे हैं, और बाकी और डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स के अंदर एस्टेब्लिश करने के प्रपोजल गवर्नमेंट को दिए हुए हैं. स्लोली फेज वाइज ही हो रहे हैं. दे आर ऑन लाइन विद द केवीके. Completely extension services are being delivered. There are specialists of the different livestock streams, medicine, production side, diagnostic side, and regular farmers are coming to that place. Nowadays, we are having the WhatsApp group, and completely digitalized program is going on, as Dr. Mahesh Chandra was telling about during this COVID-19, what initiatives we have taken. One e-Pashupalak Chaupal we have started. 2 days in a month, that e-Pashupalak Chaupal is being organized, and various farmers, around 15 to 20,000 farmers are registered with our WhatsApp group through different PUTRCs. They all are given access to that. There are young farmers also, there are entrepreneurs also who are linked with them, and they are regularly observing that program, and we are inviting the experts and the particular pertinent persons so that they can deliver some of their question answer session, or they can deliver some of the presentations to the farmers. So
thank you, Dr. Thank you for this. Actually, I am very much impressed with the likes, what you told. I had an opportunity of giving the first lecture in the Bikaner College recently. You were there on that day. I like the idea that many universities need to have this kind of center on their own. And that was a very good program actually you have initiated. And particularly I am very much impressed about the organic program going on by Rajasthan. Actually you are the lead university which has taken up this work in such a mass scale, and you are going very in an organized way about switching over and being in touch with APIDA and all these things. That is really, other universities need to follow up this. And the government is also thinking, DADF and all, they are thinking of organic livestock now. So it is very much appreciable. We'll have your more thoughts later on to us. So we have to hear others also. Thank you very much for your views. They are very impressive. So I request Dr. Venkat, because he is eagerly waiting to speak. He is having many things to speak because out of his vast experience being ADG, Atari director, and so many places, lot of publications, working in several states. Right now, also working as a KVK head. So much to speak, and also we expect him to cover horticulture and sericulture also, because he is jack of all trades. I would not say master of none. So we welcome Dr. Venkat. So we would like to hear you.
Good afternoon, all. I would like to start my talk with thanks to the organizers, Dr. Sarvanan Raj, for organizing such an important program on dialogue on future of agriculture extension and advisory services. And thank you to Dr. Mahesh for taking the lead for the allied sector extension. My talk today focuses on the objective of the dialogue, which is approaches and challenges faced by fisheries extension systems in India. And the aim of fisheries extension, like any other extension system, be it agriculture, veterinary, home science, or forestry, it deals with the overall development of the people associated with fisheries through the process of education and improving the methods and techniques of production and standard of living of the people. Importance of fisheries sector is well known to all of us, as it is an excellent and affordable and a rich source of animal protein, and has a potential of mitigating hunger and malnutrition. In addition, it provides employment, income, foreign exchange, is a rich source of indigenous technical knowledge, biodiversity, and provides livelihoods to about 16 million people at primary level, almost twice to others in the value chain as well. And it has immense potential as a traditional activity and as a commercial enterprise also. Globally also, fish production has been increasing to about 178.5 million tons. Capture fisheries was 96.4 million tons. Aquaculture was 82.1. And world per capita fish consumption has been growing. And from 9 kg in 1961, it has risen up to 20.5 kg in 2018. This is about the world consumption. And India's consumption is quite less. So it is growing at about 1.5% rate per year. Talking about India, fisheries has shown a spectacular growth. So 0.75 million tons was the production in 1950s. Now it is 13.758 million tons in 2019. And in marine, 3.71, and inland is 9.71 million tons. The GDP share of the fisheries sector was 0.40 in 50-51. Now it is 1.03% in 2018-19. It has contributed rupees 1,75,573 crores to the GDP, and it accounts for about 6.58% share in the agricultural GDP. Export quantity has increased to 13.93 lakh metric tons. It is valued to about rupees 46,589 crores. Now India is a leading seafood exporting nation, and the marine exports were 5% of the total exports of India. The total fisheries potential is 22.31, and in marine only 71% potential has been harnessed, and in inland sector only 58% of the potential has been harnessed. Now in the recent trend is more towards aquaculture, especially freshwater aquaculture and brackish water aquaculture, and it is contributing to 6.2 million tons from 1.9, it has gone to 6.2 million tons. There are concerns about disease, high input costs, environment, etc., but this is growing at a tremendous speed. In marine sector, there is stagnation. 3 sectors are there in marine. If you see, mechanized boats, mechanized and motorized and traditional. Mechanized is contributing to about 75% of the total production. Motorized is contributing to 23%, and traditional contributes to 2% of the production. But in this sector, especially the traditional and the small scale fishers, a number of people are there in the sector, and these artisanal fishers have a socioeconomic backward background, and they are poor artisanal and poor small-scale fishers, and a number of people are involved in this. Even though stagnation is there in marine, the dependency of people in this sector for livelihood is increasing. And so the alternative livelihood opportunities are also increasing, especially in mariculture. It has a potential of about 8 million tons. The mariculture has a potential, but at present, the production is quite less. The rapid growth in culture fisheries, freshwater as well as brackish water, and now in saline, there is a tremendous growth, but disease is a concern, and about the environment also. In marine, we have concerns about management and regulation, whereas in inland, we have different issues, and post-harvest value chain and markets is another issue, in other sectors. India is blessed with rich and diverse water resources, and every state is unique. We have sea, lake, pond, river, tank, reservoir, saline, alkaline waters, and 10% of the biodiversity, global biodiversity in shellfish and fish is there in India. We have unutilized as well as underutilized water bodies in different states. So this sector has a great potential. So if you see fisheries sector, you may say it's like a fisheries sector, but there are different segments within the fisheries. We have marine capture fisheries, then we have marine culture fisheries, inland capture, inland culture, freshwater aquaculture, then brackish water aquaculture, cold water fisheries, ornamental fisheries, recreational and sports fisheries, ecotourism, integrated. So to have a one uniform kind of extension for all these sectors which have diverse people in it will not be the correct solution. There are challenges of different kinds in marine capture. Their challenges are different, like limited scope of expansion, regulation, management, infrastructure, cold chain, processing, wastage, post-harvest process, traceability issues, etc. Whereas in inland, the concerns are entirely different. So to have a uniform fisheries extension for these segments will not be the correct thing, because I'm trying to tell that the sector is so vast with different kind of subsectors within the sector. And in addition, we have shortage of skilled human resources in fisheries extension. The fisheries experts of our country have made strategies, and they have developed the strategies for each sector. Marine sector, there are different strategies. Mariculture, there are different strategies. Already strategies are in place, and experts have worked on it with reference to all the sectors. Now we have a scenario which is stagnating marine fisheries production on one hand, and high potential of aquaculture, reservoir fisheries, freshwater fisheries, and brackish water fisheries. There's a high potential. So you may think that where does extension, the fisheries extension, fit in all these sectors like I have discussed? My answer would be the fisheries extension fits in all these subsectors of fisheries, and it needs different approach. Marine needs a different approach. Freshwater needs a different approach. You may ask why. The answer is because there are diverse people involved in these segments. In addition to the fishing communities, there are fish workers, we have migrant workers, we have workers in the fish processing industry. These fishing communities in each state have a very rich cultural background and a very diverse background. And their culturally, they are very rich. For example, Maharashtra, they have their Koli community. In Karnataka, a Mogavira community. And in every coastal state, there is a very unique fishing community. So fisheries extension with reference to state also can differ. But now the thing is, we have fisheries like agriculture is a state subject. It is a state subject, and states play an important role in fisheries governance, especially inland. Inland is managed by state government. Marine waters, especially the coastal waters, they are shared between states, union territories, and central government also play an important role. So there is a close collaboration between state and the center is needed in this sector. So coming to the point of fisheries extension, because we have heterogeneous stakeholders. We have socially and economically backward people, poor people. Then the resource is a common property resource. It is not individually owned like agricultural land. We have a resource, the water body, which is a common property resource. We have underutilized and unutilized resources. So we need to have efficiency in terms of production, efficiency in terms of market, efficiency in terms of distribution and utilization of resources on one hand, and on the other hand, issues of conservation, sustainability, then environment, climate change, global change. So these have to be intermingled, and then a solution has to be thought of. In addition to the family management, then youth leadership, entrepreneurship, then FPOs, etc. So you might think that fisheries extension is a new subject. I agree that it is a new subject, and it as a discipline and as a degree-oriented subject we started in the last decade. But the extension effort by our government, different governments, and by our country has been taken since 1928. Since 1928, I will not go in detail about the history, but Royal Commission on Agriculture started, pointed out that not much was being done for the fisheries development in 1920. Then in Grow More Food campaign, fisheries was given importance. Then in 1947, the Institute SIFRI, which is there in Barakpur, Institute of Training Center was formed, and now it is ICR organization SIFRI. And in 1971, AICRP 72 Marine Products Export Development Agency was formed. So this goes on, and FFDA, the Fish Farmers Development Agency, Brackish Water Farmers Development Agency. So number of efforts were going on, and then in 2006, the National Fisheries Development Board also came into picture. But now the policy-wise, and the government is taking a lot of interest in the sector. Now we have a separate Ministry of Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Dairying, and a draft National Fisheries Policy is also in place. If you see policy-wise, and it is very encouraging time, it is a very promising time, and government has recognized the sector, its potential, and emphasis is a lot of emphasis is there on all the subsectors, especially aquaculture and the emerging areas like cage culture or recirculatory aquaculture systems, and the new technologies like biofloc, quality seed production, value chain development. Lot of funds also have been given under this fisheries sector with an aim of environmental sustainability, BMPs, best management practices, processing, shipping, etc. And now this Prime Minister's Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana, PMMSY, a fund allocation has also been done to the tune of rupees 20,050 crores for the next 5 years, with an emphasis on blue regulation. So it is very clear that the sector is very promising with new technologies in marine, for example, cage culture, in aquaculture, aquaponics, RAS, BTF, bioflocs are there. Then in fisheries technology, new craft, new gears, and it is not behind with reference to digital and ICT also. Number of mobile apps are also coming up. About 30 mobile apps are there in fisheries which are of Indian origin. So we have from ICR also, ICR fisheries organizations, there are quite a number of mobile apps like Venemai Shrimp app, then M-Jhinga app developed by CIFE. And students are also developing mobile apps. Students are coming forward, like Matsya is one app. Then private parties also have developed apps like Aquapulse, Daily Fish India, etc. And in addition, 2 or 3 companies have also come up with reference to Internet of Things, like Aquaka Technologies, which are working on providing information through integrating the artificial intelligence and Internet of Technologies for dissolved oxygen, pH, and various other parameters. So those sectors is quite promising. Now the question is whether we should be following the public extension systems or the private extension system, or come out with an innovative extension model. That is thing which we as panelists and all can discuss about this. But at present, in India, if you see in fisheries extension, public extension is playing a very good role. With reference to private extension, the input suppliers, especially the feed companies, are playing quite a good role. Even in some NGOs are also working, and some new models are also coming up by different ICR institutes. So we can say that there are different extension service providers or pluralistic, like we say there. And what is needed is convergence of these extension providers to give a coherent response to the farmer or the fisherman. And in addition to that, co-management approach is one approach which has been tried in fisheries. In co-management, what I mean is it's a shared decision making within the government and the fish farmers, and then trickle-down system with the result demonstration farmers and fellow fish farmers. Then entrepreneurship-led extension models is being tried by our organization CIFE in Motipur Bihar Center. We are also working on a project. We are trying to converge the not just the private, but the funds which are allotted to the organization for corporate social responsibility. The funds, we are working in Nashik, Maharashtra, where we are trying to converge the corporate social responsibility in fisheries and aquaculture. So there are companies like Bosch, HPL, etc., who have funds under CSR, and they want to undertake livelihood projects. So in addition to the private extension, the CSR funds is also being used for fisheries livelihood projects. So it's very clear that as per the agroclimatic region, there are strategies, and each state has a different strategy in place, which is already done by experts in fisheries and aquaculture. For example, Western Himalaya, Jammu and Kashmir or Himachal Pradesh, etc., will need a very different kind of extension approach because their fisheries is mostly cold water fisheries or small reservoirs or angling and sports fisheries, ecotourism. Whereas the coastal states will need a different kind of strategy with reference to that. But the thing is how to do that. We have shortage of human resources in fisheries extension. And if you see, like in one paper, our team has worked, and students, and Dr. Oja is also, our HOD is also there as one of the attendees. He has developed a roadmap. What he says is trying to tell that we have three clear-cut extension systems which are needed in fisheries. The first is production, then we have market, and then we have environment. So in production, we have to think about aquaculture, marine, responsible fisheries, disease, then underutilized and utilized, less utilized water bodies. Whereas in market, we have fish market, fish processing, value addition, etc. In environment, it is about sustainable climate change, ecosystem health, etc. So extension is very clear that in fisheries sector, extension is needed. Now the fisheries has different subsectors. So what should be the approach for each sector? And each sector has to be seen with a very different approach because of the scale. Some sectors are only for export. Some sectors are for livelihood generation. With this inadequate extension staff and inadequate financials, inadequate infrastructure, how do we approach to achieve sustainable solutions? Public extension is their focus in fisheries is more on regulation. It is more of a regulatory body, leasing rights or maybe subsidies for trawlers and infrastructure. In the public extension does transfer of technology, but it is more of a subsidy based. Now the private extension is there. It is more of aquapreneurship and business model. Like one of the, I think Dr. Dwivedi is writing on the message chat that private extension is more toward a profit motive. So the thing is, but private extension is coming has come into fisheries, and they have a very business model like feed companies. They are providing a lot of consultancies to the farmers, but they have an agenda to sell the feed to the farmer. So that also can be debated, but private extension is a big thing, and aquapreneurship and business models are there. And in addition, some NGOs are working. The challenge is how we converge all these stakeholders, providers, extension service providers, and come out with a solution which is coherent as a convergence. So, in short, towards the end, I would like to say that this sector is very promising. It has a very enabling policy environment with a separate fisheries ministry now. Fund allocation with reference to PMMSY is there. We have Sagar Mala project for infrastructure development. We have Mudra for finance. And we have a draft national fisheries policy in public domain. So, by overcoming the challenges of public extension and the strengths of the public extensions systems and strength of the private extension system, we can converge and take this sector ahead, because this sector has got, like in the beginning, like I told
you. Excuse me. Thank you for your excellent overview of the fisheries extension sector. So, just we'll have your views later on, because we have to give the chance to other speakers.
Thank you.
I would like to hear from you about the few women extension professionals in general are there, women participation and all. I want a brief, your views briefly on this aspect. Women extension professionals, there are only few, and what should be done in this regard, because women extension function, it is one of the issues, women's participation into fisheries or in general. Being a woman, we would like to hear from you.
Yes, certainly. Dr. Mahesh, thank you very much. And to point out that few women extension professionals are there. As such, if you say, regardless of the gender, there are few extension professionals, and within the fisheries extension professionals, there are few women, even women extension scientists and women extension professionals. So there has to be some policy to encourage participation of women. How this happened, that there are less, it might not be a strategy as such, but somehow not much has been done into that. But with reference to enrollment of students in fisheries sciences, what we have seen, the statistics show that about 30% of women, girls, come into fisheries sciences. But how many of them get absorbed as fisheries extension or that data I'm not having. But about 30% they take fisheries science as a subject. But there is a need to encourage women to become extension professionals, to have gender mainstreaming. I agree with your point.
Thank you very much. It is very intellectually stimulating, very informative talk. So, because you have covered almost all the areas related to fisheries, marine, freshwater and everything. So it was so exciting to hear everything about this one. So we are very happy that you are in the panel, that you could do justice to the topic given to you. Thank you very much. We'll hear more from you later on. In the meantime, I request Dr. Venkatasubramanin. He is eagerly waiting since long. Maybe he's thinking, sir, you are thinking we are a bit academic type of people. Myself, Dr. Arpita, Dr. Vishnu, though we are doing something, but you are coming from an organization where you have to deal through KVKs, where they are directly in contact with farmers. So we are eagerly waiting to hear you.
Thank you, sir. Are you hearing now, sir?
Yes, we are hearing you.
Good afternoon, and it's my pleasure to join with all of you. And there was an inconvenience to me, and we rectified it. And to start with a formal respect to our D.V.Rangnekar, sir, and our senior colleague, Dr. Vishnu Sharma, and the organizer, Dr. Magechan, and our manager, Saravanan, who was with me in the northeastern region, and Dr. Arpita Sharma, and all other colleagues who have joined in this dialogue. It's really a good initiative, and it's a need of the hour. And I go by the guidelines given to me, and to take the lead from Dr. Arpita Sharma, today morning we had a virtual meeting with our DDG that we got an information and action point from Fisheries Ministry that we have to educate 10 lakh fisheries farmers by just conducting webinars to make them aware of different technologies and different policies and different programs of government. Now, my question I asked was, where are the 10 lakh farmers, fisheries, that is fishermen, whether 10 lakh fishermen were available in our country or not? Taking into the sector, like what she told in cold water fisheries and can say various aquaculture sector, we have to now group this 10 lakh farmers. So it's just a preamble. Now to start with the challenges, if you see, there are many. As Dr. Mahesan was rightly pointing out, I had the opportunity to work in the extension system as an academician, where in the college as well as in IVRA and NDRA setup. Then in the farmers field, like in where Andaman, like Nicobar Islands, where it is a really difficult situation, and then to coming to hardcore commercial extension like tobacco, then as an industrialist, it's managing director of milk processing, then your policy issues, then as a technology applicant perspective. So all this experience I would like to share my own some few points. You see the challenges, really we are now, there are 4 M's we can say. One is monsoon, next is market, then money lender and multinational. Now it is added is COVID, like disaster management and the challenges due to natural calamity and such biological diseases which is devastating our humankind as well as that is having a say in the farming community. You know all that farm holes are sinking. Now the animal husbandry or horticulture or fisheries extension has to take care of all these challenges like production cost is rising, resource drain from farming, water crisis, then loss of biodiversity, increase in biotic and abiotic pressures, and slow pace of diversification, high post-harvest loss, as high as 25%, then energy availability and cost, inadequate markets, and climate change issues. So with this small background, if we see, there are 5 J's we used to always deal with, that is Jameen. Because now if we see the land conversion and into the industrialization and real estate, really the land availability and the per capita availability as well as the good quality of land for farming and animal husbandry and fishery sector, there is a question. Water, again we all say that there is monsoon is heavy or somewhere else monsoon is not distributed properly, hydrological drought, drainage, flood, so many issues. Then deforestation leading to climate change and global warming. Then January, that is the 4th J, can say consequences and disappearance of indigenous animal, so many issues. The 5th one is the Jati or Jan. That is, if you see, the quality of manpower available with the grassroots level is now reducing. So with all these challenges, now we have to focus about the extension in different perspectives. As my previous speaker was telling, there are sectoral demands are high. The industrial demand is high, the farmer demand is different, and then if you see the export demand is different. So are we prepared to cater to various demand systems that various segments of the extension is facing is a question of the hour. For example, today we are much talking about the doubling the farmer's income. In the doubling the farmer's income, there are 7 indicators we see. Increasing the productivity and resource use efficiency, then the intensity, cropping intensity, diversification towards high value crops, and improvement in real value prices received by the farmer, and shift from farm to non-farm sectors. So all these things now coming to our hand, that how to face all these issues which is related to double the farmer's income, and issues related to climate change, issues related to the finance availability, support system, market system, all these things you see, certainly we have to now think twice or thrice before looking into the one point time that how to strengthen the extension system or how to change our approach or our programs. This is very important now. Now if you see the one important aspect I would like to focus here upon it, different segments, how we are now talking about animal husbandry, horticulture and fisheries. Is there anything which we have got, which we are now talking about, or which we are doing, or which we are having in the policy level, is same or it is different? Because certainly I can say one thing is mismatch exists between whatever I'm talking is based on my experience. It's a mismatch between what is in the policy, what is in the program, and what is the implementation stage in the grassroots level. So how we are going to bridge this gap or meet these challenges is the one which we have to think about it. This is one important challenge. Now, if you see the present day, the issues which we have to deal with, that is, that you see the earlier 1950, it started with community development, then it all came bottom-up approach. You all know that. Now, with the doubling the farmers' income and the present issue which we have to deal with are agripreneurship. The farmer as a partner, innovator, and entrepreneur. Then trend and game-changing issues. That means our approach. Food safety standards, quality, surplus management, farmer-led or innovative-led extension, then demand and market-driven extension. So to deal with these issues, what is our focus is to agripreneurship means secondary agriculture. Then we have to focus on ICT-based. As you said, we have got so many mobile apps, and then now it's a regular physical meeting now due to the COVID situation. We come into the webinar as well as this virtual meeting. How far our extension system in the grassroots level is strengthened or is capable of dealing such situations through this ICT-based extension approach, the knowledge designing, food security, safety standards, rights approach, and the GA issues, climate change, that is, we can say NICRA, and we got so many programs of livestock extension with the climate resilient technology, climate resilient livestock farming, then how the resource conservation, agriculture, so our animal husbandry, our horticulture, which reduces the cost of production. Then if you see this focus, how the approach it may be, it's an agribusiness consortium or partnership mode, or it is we are going to talk about the farmers' rights or IPR issue, or the technology parks or incubators, or the ICRS now initiated the RER, Farmers First, etc. So all these things are all with us. But how to match with our national goal of food, nutrition, and livelihood security with this thing? This is which I am going to talk with some example. For example, now we are talking about now livestock extension. If you see what the industrial standard, for example, milk union or a grassroots level farmer which belong to dairy or dairy segment is needed is quality. The quality of milk which we get, whether it is sufficient to match with a different segment, or are we value addition, or we are going to talk about the quantity, whether the quantity of urban market we are going to talk about, or quantity of up market we are talking about, or anything very specialized milk. Even for example, we sell a Tetra Pak milk with slim milk, that is a slim milk with less than 1.5% with a premium price than the 3% fat. That means people are now with a product which matches with their demand. How the consumer demand is changing, that whether our approach or our strategy is based on the consumer preferences or not, what type of demand is there, whether our farmer is educated with the changing demand and changing consumer preferences, or quality standard is used. All these things are all some of the issues which we have to talk about when we come to the industrial extension. If you come to the extension with respect to the farmers, doubling farmers' income or whether livelihood security, we have to focus upon whether the resource conservation issues are all there, how to minimize the production cost, how to increase the quality, how to get more price, where the market he can get more prices, how to linkage with the market, and how we are going to the market forecast, and how he is going to be empowered with additional income through non-farm occupation, skilling, etc. So now you can say that as a member of RK Governing Council, you all know that RK is now Agricultural Skill Council of India, even a veterinarian is heading there. We now focus upon more of skill development and capacity development with respect to skilling. Now NSQC standard. Now we talk about the National Skill Qualification Council, whether our extension material or our material which we are producing for capacity development, whether which matches with the Skill Council standard or not. Certainly we have to update ourselves and to match with this occupational standards, which the global standard or it is the national standard which we are talking about. Then if you see the integration, how we are integrating with the right technology with the farmers need through right approach. This is more important. There are definitely technologies are available, but these technologies, whether it matches with the smallholder system or is a larger farm system or it's a landless system, that exercise is lacking in the field level. As I said, the monsoon issue, we are talking about NICRA and those climate resilient agriculture, we are coming out with specialized agriculture. But what we are going to do with the present challenge like COVID and the unexpected challenges which we are facing about natural calamity, are the extension system, are the farmers are empowered? Empowered means technological empowerment is one. But other side behind, whether their empowerment with respect to their withstanding capacity, their risk-bearing capacity, what the system is going to do with them, whether they are linked with the Kisan credit cards or whether they are linked with insurance policies or how the dairy or the poultry or this fisheries sector or horticulture sector is going to address the risk which is associated with the farmers with respect to their enterprise. This is very important thing. So those things without understanding their ground reality, linking the farmers with the risk support system or the policies of the government which addresses or redresses the farmers' risk issues which we are facing. It is difficult. Whatever technology you give, whatever effort you give them to educate them or skill them, it is not going to comfort them. So now I would like to share some of my experience how it has helped in the system. For example, if you take from horticulture sector, I will take. One of the issue which when I was in northeastern region, you know that turmeric, which is a curcumin content is very high and it has got a very high demand in the upmarket as well as in the export market. Now what happened, we arranged an industrial linkage with a Kerala based farm and they wanted to set up a real good processing plant in the northeastern region. But what is the issue which we faced was the turmeric quality is good, but the quantity which they wanted to have, that is also available. But what is the problem? The problem comes with the continuity of that one. Because any enterprise wanted to thrive, the continuity is to be continuity is more important. That means quantity, quality, continuity and cost factor. The cost factor also it is more. The turmeric is very good, organic, everything. But the cost which we incur from the producer to the processing side and to market side, it cannot compete with the turmeric which we get from the other areas of the country. The similar way, if you see other issues like when I was in the managing director, our product, dairy product, the problem is the quality. Before the milk which reaches the dairy plant, chilling center, it is getting almost the quality is getting deteriorated. Then when I process it and then when I put it and then tetra pack it, 15 days is lost. When I send it to Singapore market, our quality is only to withstand for only 2 months. Whereas if you see this QBB and Anchor, if you see their quality of the milk, there are many slides I could not make it because I thought it's only dialogue. Directly from the animal udder to the tanker and to the processing plant and then it is just taken to the exporter. Even if you see fishery segment, when I see in the Thailand and that area, in the sea itself the trawlers are there, there is a processing plant is there, there is a storage, then they are marketing. We do not have such arrangement. We have got a very, I can say, farmer-centric operation where the grassroots level facilities are very minimum, as well as somewhere else it is negligible also. So without strengthening these grassroots level facilities which require to empower the farmers and the enterprises, if we talk about the starting entrepreneurship and then export, this organ, nothing is going to match it. That is what I am telling you. Now, one thing I wanted to tell is how we are going to strengthen it, whether it is by the government or it's a private or it is by the farmers. Certainly, there is a limitation. That's what I wanted to focus here is farmers producers organization. Because if you see the farmers are purchasing things in retail and marketing their produce in the bulk. That means in wholesale. Therefore, he has to lose whether purchasing in the retail as well as marketing in the wholesale also. So when they group up, like if you see now the dairy has gone into a company setup, certainly it is one of the empowerment. When the farmers are able to empower themselves with this available farmers, producers, organizations and company acts, certainly they are going to gain. That's what I wanted to focus. Sir, you are telling so many things. What is your thing? Now the need of the hour is to match the DFI's goal as well as to address the grassroots level challenges in terms of infrastructure as well as to meet the today's challenge like COVID situation. Farmers Producers Organization is one of the important availability necessary ways and means to empower the farmers. In the COVID time, that you can, one of the objective of this today dialogue is what is the experience in the COVID time. Certainly, the milk, meat, and the egg had a really good time. These products were heavily in demand. Even somewhere else, it was blamed that the heavy rush in the meat stuff was contributing to the COVID spread. The egg price also, that time it was really very much stable and it has strengthened the farmer. Sometimes Namakkal and the area, when we say the egg was stagnated due to the transport is one. But when the government eases out the transport, comparing to the other agricultural produce, the egg, meat and this milk, they were given a good opportunity to reach the consumer. So to be precise, the COVID time, we had fish also. That means that transport and other issues are the general constraints. But availability of cold store and then cold chain, if you strengthen it, certainly the farmers will be empowered in such demanding situation to market their produce and this produce to reach the consumer. Now the point here which I wanted to focus is the technology extension or technology application in the farmers will not mitigate the farmers, or it is not only the reason for the farmers' agony. It is the reach of these goods to the consumer. It is the pricing of these goods. It is the price which the farmer gets for their quality produce, or the real value which they have to get is the question which is dealt by the policy. That is, we have to do something. This extension system has to give very much, I can say, very much aggressively. We have to go back to the policy planners or to take back to the ministry that without strengthening these issues like cold chain and then marketing issues and the pricing of the produce, definitely whatever you give the good technology or reach the farmer, educate the farmer is not going to make any sense. So now, for example, because time is also very less, knowledge management issues and then application of the ICT and this support of an expert group, all these things are all very much important when you talk about value addition. For example, I can say a jackfruit is 50 rupees to 60 rupees. One of our KVK experience, if you see all this IHR experience, when the jackfruit is just dried and then it is packed, it is sold, just 3 peel of jackfruit, that is pieces, that is only 3 rupees, 4 rupees. You can make a value addition just dry, vacuum dry, even Bindi also, when we vacuum dry, we throw away price, that is within 1 rupee product is given consumer price of 60 to 70 rupees and there is a payback for 40 to 50 rupees, leaving all the other costs. So here value addition and the post-harvest technologies to prevent the post-harvest loss is very important. And the extension has to focus on this so that the farmer should get that extra money through his farmers producers organization and he can meet his money demand and avail or generate his own resources within the farm so that he can certainly empowered with respect of the resources. For example, I will just share one other coming to the farmers extension. There is one example I will tell. In Northeast, we had a beautiful lesson of partnership. That's what we needed. Public, private, and the partnership is very much important. There is a technology, microchipping. That microchipping technology is with NRC Mithun. And the KVK Papambare, which is in Itanagar, taken this technology through the farmers organization. They microchipped the Mithun so that identification. You know that the Mithuns are all very much, these are all semi-domesticated. So there was a lot of social conflicts were there. When the microchipped this Mithun, the identification of Mithun was easy and the farmers were very much convinced that the Mithun is not belonging to him or his. So the technology used here avoided conflict between two communities. Here is a partnership. Here is a technology, here is a user, and here is a applicant. This is not a technology application system I'm talking about. So what I'm telling is the partnership mode and networking mode and then the collaboration or integration of the technologies are very much important to meet these challenges is one of my important point I would like to put forward. Then, for example, last 2 months back, you all know that when I was giving an input to our Prime Minister's speech for our Man Ki Baat, I was going to the Mysore and there I saw Chennapatnam. Then I was interacting with one of my colleague, Dr. Kulkarni, who breed this local breeds and all. He has made the genetic mapping, everything. Then I understood. I was seeing the Rajapalayam dog and Mukul dog, which is very much our indigenous dog. Then it found a place in the speech. After this, suddenly there is a demand that everybody wanted Rajapalayam dog and Mudgol dog from Karnataka. Now everybody wanted to become an entrepreneur by breeding these dogs. So what I wanted to stress here is there are so many indigenous technology, our breeds or indigenous opportunities which is available, like cow milk or like our Mahesh was telling about our Gobar marketing. There are one potential sources are there which we have to identify and we have to tell the farmers that here is a source where you can earn your income by just focusing upon such enterprises. Even if you see 1 liter of the cow urine in the upmarket or in Chennai market, it costs about 40 to 50 rupees. So there are potential things which we have to identify and we have to link the schemes which the government of India is having for the farmers, which we have to tell to the farmer. There are all the various schemes and that farmers' education towards that and getting their benefit is very important. And there are number of examples which I can quote. Anyhow, due to the lack of time and the given time, I addressed the challenges and various issues related to this allied sector extension. If anything, the organizers wanted, we can interact separately. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Venkatasubramanin. It was actually a practical insight you are having of diverse experiences over the years that are very useful. So time constraint is there. Otherwise, I know very well that you can speak hours together. Such a varied experience, a rich experience you are having. Thank you for your
one more experience, sir. I would like to share
let me check if Dr. Rangnekar sir is there. Otherwise, you can have more time. So
there's only one thing, sir. I can do this, sir. What happened in Northeast when we were there? You know that the 26/11 where the Bombay our hotel was hijacked. They're feeling a lot of difficulty to evacuate the terrorists. But in the Northeast, you know that Naga Mirchi is one of the very, very highly pungent as well as the heat value is very high. In one of the forum and the extension, we were focusing on GI tagging of many of our products. So through our KVK Nagaland and the horticulture department, we took the GI tagging for this Naga Mirchi. And when it was presented, one scientist, defense scientist called Srivastava, taken this one into the lead and he has taken that Mirchi bomb. So because we took the GI tag, the benefits which were accrued with the Mirchi bomb, it is going to the farmer. You know that this Naga Mirchi was taken by Mexican people. They were taken this, cultivated this one in acres and then they are using it for their making the products. For example, if you need 1 kg mirchi, ordinary mirchi, you need it to make a 1 liter of mirchi concentrate. This Naga mirchi, you need only just 100 grams. So the cost is reduced and the product is very much fetching to the farmer. Like that, the issues like GI and then PPVR, you all know that we tagged more than 5 lakh farmers with the PPVR, registered the farmers with the PPVR. So anything which is the benefit accrued to the breed or anything variety developed by them, it goes to the farmer. Similarly, with the National Biodiversity Act, I was one of the member of expert committee. The benefit sharing, which is very much important to the farmer, whether animal. Sir, you know that 1.5 crores we have charged for an embryo which is recently gone from Gujarat to US. So that was the benefit sharing we got it. Whether what type of benefit sharing we are going to fetch it to the farmer for the indigenous resources, also one of the important issues which we have to focus by giving GI or this benefit sharing ABS within Biodiversity Act as well as our PPVR. Those things are also now emerging areas of importance with the extension has to focus to benefit the farmer. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It is important supplementary like GI tag and all this is very important. Dr. Rangnekar sir, are you there? Are you able to hear?
Pardon?
Dr. Rangnekar.
You are getting me?
Yes, now we are getting, sir. If you can be a bit louder.
Okay, are you getting me now?
Yeah, fine, sir.
Fine. Well, good afternoon, or rather good evening to all. Compliments to manage for this interesting initiative, and thanks for giving me this opportunity, Dr. Mahesh Chitandra and Dr. Sarvanan. Let me say I would provide first the backdrop so that you understand why I am focusing on certain aspects rather than giving a wider coverage. Firstly, I am not an extension specialist. I am a practitioner, and it so happens that I have extended involvement in livelihood-based livestock development program, which also integrated natural resource management activities. Now, through this extended involvement, I got opportunities to interact with a large number of rural families directly and through field officers, and that's where whatever I learned and as related to extension and planning and implementing extension activities, I would briefly state in the next few minutes. One of the major learnings for me was that a large majority of rural families keep livestock. Many of them keep mixed livestock, not just one species or one type of animal. And these are kept with multiple objectives. For example, it's not only the economic objective, but also risk coverage. There is socio-cultural aspects in keeping livestock, and the livestock provide inputs as well as outputs. So, looking at the fact that these smallholders, landless, they own, they have a major share in livestock keeping. They have major share in livestock produce. What I wish to reiterate is that we need to give priority in making extension more effective so that these families get benefited. And I would say that even with limited improvement, that would have multiplier effect and improve the livestock produce of the country substantially. But then I would admit that there is need, while I would stress on what I learned and experienced with regard to extension with these smallholder resource poor families, there is need also to pay attention to those who have resources, who want to take this up as entrepreneurial activity, commercial activity. So there is a need for a dual approach in extension, I would say even in research. Now, one of the aspects that has been bothering me is since decades I've been hearing livestock extension is a weak link in livestock development activities. And because of this weak link, desired benefits are not seen. But then the learning I had while working in these livelihood development programs do indicate major reasons why this is weak link, and I would deal with a few aspects indicating what I learned in the field. Most of the rural families are referred as resistant to change. And it's quite often that I heard from extension groups that, well, they tried everything, but these families do not change their habits. They do not change their management systems. And I had to say that, well, let us go back and find out why they are not. And to some extent, I said this is a blessing in disguise. If they were to change hearing or reading every other recommendation, they would be in a difficult situation. Because one of the limitations I find are that much of these recommendations or even technologies are not pre-tested before wider dissemination or before wider dissemination of the recommendations, because we have tremendous variability in production systems. We have tremendous variability as far as socio-cultural aspects are concerned, which also influence the management system. And unless the system adopts a decentralized approach, unless the system adopts pre-testing of technologies and recommendations before wider application, I think it would not give the desired results. I mean, one of the major learning in this connection I had was that the technology or research recommendation has not only to be technically sound, but also should be economically profitable to the producer and socially acceptable. And unless these three criteria are fulfilled, we cannot say it's a recommendation which should be widely adopted. And talking of adoption, this is also a tricky affair. We many a times see reports, so many technologies and recommendations adopted, but the observations are over a very limited period of time, and in most cases, till the project is being implemented. The real adoption comes into picture after the project support is over. If it is really beneficial, the farmer would continue to use the recommendation. Now, in this regard, an aspect I felt worth mentioning is regarding the extension team, whether it is government sector or any other sector. The major function that we see, or the activity that we see and observe, is transfer of technology. Somehow this TOT has become more or less synonymous with extension. And that is one thing which is worrisome. I really wish the the extension team or the extension system adopts a three-way functioning. Why should it work only one way, transferring technology from research organizations to the field, to the farmer? Why not a feedback to the research system? Feedback in two ways. One is the response of the livestock producer or farmer to the recommendation or technology made available. The other is equally important, the regular and planned feedback from the field to the research group in relation to problems or constraints faced by the animal owners. This kind of feedback would provide much needed information for taking up research activities or for providing desired livestock services. And that would make the research program much more development supportive rather than taking up research in the conventional manner as we see in many cases. Now the other aspects that I learned through or I observed was majority of extension workers, and I think Dr. Mrs. Sharma's session it was mentioned, are male, and we have very, very limited women extension officers or extension workers. Although we all agree and admit that much of livestock production is handled by women. But there is need for effort to induct women extension officers, and they would be in a much better position and they would be much more effective as extension people. At the same time, the other observation is, although we admit women play a major role in livestock production, but the extension program, training program are not planned or implemented considering women's convenience, considering the kind of information they want. And an important observation I got mainly through my late wife, who was studying women involvement in agriculture, that women like the programs to be more practical oriented, and long lectures, they do not appeal them. They're not comfortable. So from that viewpoint, there is need for a change in the approach in extension and training programs. Related to this subject is another aspect which is little disturbing. Much of the extension and training material I found was centrally made. And even if we talk of a state, there is so much variability within a state or within a region of the state that these centrally made material may not be very appropriate. It may be all right in some regions, but in other regions it may not. And the other lacuna I observed was the extension and training material is not pre-tested. We had interesting experience in tribal areas where nice slides were projected, nice lecture was given, and the tribal farmers were at a loss. said, this is not the way we present or draw a well. This is not the way we draw a field with crops. This is not the way we take our animals out. So pre-testing of the training extension material would be desirable. Other difficulty is language. Let me recall in BIF, I had to make a recommendation that for extension work, we better enroll diploma officers, diploma holders locally rather than university graduates. Because it's not only the language. I mean, you may say in Gujarat it is Gujarati, in Maharashtra it is Marathi, but within the state there is quite a bit of difference in what you can call the slang. And with the rural people, it's really a very difficult proposition. A wonderful experience I had was one of the meetings with tribals in South Gujarat, and there was talk about proper sowing and observing germination, etc. And then to my surprise, at the end of the meeting, one person came to me and said, "Sir, I am working on languages as a linguist." And he said, "I would like you to know that in our tribal language, germination is not one word. Germination is not described by one word. There are 4 or 5 words describing different stages of germination. So if you are talking of germination to these people, it would not make much sense." So, but even otherwise, communicating with rural farmers, rural families, and particularly women, it's desirable that the person knows or at least knows a bit of the local slang. The other difficulty observed, and there was reference to KVKs in most of the talks yesterday and today, is the KVKs have very, very few livestock people. And that is posing limitation to utilizing such a good network of organizations based in rural areas. The other difficulty I must mention here is what are referred as extension officers, whether it's in agriculture department or livestock department. Most of them, or at least most about whom I got feedback, they're not trained or oriented in extension. Many of them just graduated, joined the department. The first posting is as extension officer. It would be desirable if these people are given orientation training. It is only in 2 or 3 states I found such a program is taken up. Well, that's briefly what I wanted to put across.
Thank you very much, sir. Despite your age, you could make it today, and we are very happy to listen your views. We would have been still more happy if you could see your video. Somehow it did not work because for a long time we haven't met, and we could have seen you at least, but at least we could hear. I would request all the panelists to put their videos on so that all could be there in the stream. So important takeaways from your lecture, which I have already typed here for others those who couldn't hear you well. So we agree to you that many a time technologies are being recommended before trying well, testing well, and we are suggesting. So it makes implementation very difficult. Same with extension literature also. We are not working well on them. We are not pre-testing, simply developing some extension material and passing on to farmers, which farmers feel that they are not to their good use. Then we realize why technology failed, why it is not working in the field. So it happens because of this, and also feedback mechanism is also very poor. They are not taking feedback properly, and though we realize the importance of feedback, but often it is not being taken. So I like to give example of azolla, particularly azolla and urea treatment of straw. And also recently now we are talking about hydroponic fodder. These are some technologies which many people have conflicting views about. So there is no clarity. Even animal nutrition people, when I ask them privately, they will tell, oh, there is no work in it. But when in the conferences, in the meetings, everybody keeps silent about these. So there is no concrete reply comes about the utility of this. Urea treatment of straw, now totally it has been dumped. But in some corners, I feel that still people are using it. So there is already good or bad animal nutrition practices, a book by FAO, where I am having article on this urea treatment of straw. It has been totally negated. Likewise, azolla is being talked about a lot as animal feed. But what's its utility? That it should be tested properly before we recommend in the field. So likewise, people are also talking about the hydroponic fodder a lot. How much it is useful, under what conditions, or across the board we can recommend it to the farmers. So it has to be seen, but there are many videos available on hydroponic fodder which have severely criticized this. So these are some of these very important points you made in your lecture, sir. We are grateful to you. Actually, we are at the different platform, representing different institutions, handling different issues at different positions. For example, a vice chancellor, for him, the responsibilities are at different level, at higher level, and his exposure level is at different level. His challenges before him are much more than what we have at our level in academic institutions. So we are operating at different levels, so our views are so divergent. And then we are talking of convergence of views also. So that different people, stakeholders are meeting and conversing, and some kind of a concrete things are being recommended. So what I believe from the organizer, we expect that the management will thresh out all these issues, synthesize recommendations so cautiously, and the views after they synthesize recommendations, they are being sent to the people. At least to the stakeholders, those who are speakers, they should see it, what is being recommended from this platform. And also we know very well many a time what we recommended from this kind of platform, this kind of seminars, workshops, webinars, often at implementation level, they are not taken note of. So this is also a problem. Many recommendations over the years have gone down to the drains. Nobody bothers about them. But slowly, people are now getting interested into. People are picking up things. Say, for example, again, I would give example of organic. Dr. Vishnu Sharma very nicely spoken about the university, what they are doing it. Government of India, DADF, now they are having a lot of meetings on this. They want to have this certification mechanism streamlined, and they want to really promote this thing in a big way. Cow dung, cow economy, and what to do, goshalas, how to rehabilitate cattle. These are the issues, and extension functionaries cannot feel themselves isolated to these issues. We cannot behave as aloof from these issues. We have to tackle them. We have to make ourselves aware about these issues. So we have to take note of all these things. Towards the end, I would like to hear a word, at least a brief intervention from Dr. Vishnu Sharma, Dr. Arpita, Dr. Venkatasubramanin, Dr. Rangnekar sir already has said. So, Professor Sharma, that towards the end, your final comment on. You are muted, sir. You are muted. Unmute yourself.
Thank you, Dr. Maheshwar. And it was really nice to hear from the learned panelist, Dr. Rangnekar, such a senior doyen of the subject, and he has narrated each and everything in a very fantastic way. A completely different sector, Dr. Arpita. And Dr. Venkatasubramanin. He really narrated the practical experiences. From my point of view, very briefly, because we have discussed the things at large, very briefly I will say that there should be a very strong linkage between the university and the government as far as the university point is concerned. Because in university, we are having the capacity, we are having the knowledge completely. And in livestock system, I am telling, in agriculture system, it is little bit mature system. But in livestock, as far as the livestock system is concerned, there is very, very less linkage in the government sector and university system, one thing. And the livestock extension services in the government system is very poor in almost all. So we have to strengthen that collaboration, that linkage, that networking effectively so that at least some of the developed and the mature technologies will trickle down to the farmers through veterinary officers. That is my recommendation. Another is that the extension recommendations, extension methodologies are totally different for the subsistence type of farming, whereas the advisory and the consultancy that we will also put under the broad umbrella of the extension services are completely different for the entrepreneurs and for the industrialists. So it's a good time now when we should divert those paths, and we should try to develop and mature those diverse type of requirements which is being felt regularly by the society. And with the development of the knowledge base, with the development of the capacity, with the refinement of our methodologies and recommendations, we will be able to fulfill the society requirements. So, Dr. Maheshchandra, those are two broad recommendations which I would like to suggest to the House. And with those recommendations, definitely, we will find some good and fruitful way for the benefit of the livestock owners of the country as well.
Thank you very much, sir. We have well noted your points. We will take note of and put into the recommendations. Dr. Arpita, would you like to say something towards the end? Unmute yourself, please.
Thank you. And the lectures and the talks which were given by different personalities were very enriching for me as well as the audience. And different things have come out. I was there to speak about fisheries extension and to talk about the importance of fisheries, which I think has been well appreciated by all. And I could make the point that the sector is diverse. With reference to this particular dialogue which we had today, it is very clear that allied sectors are very, very important, whether it is livestock or fisheries or any other sector. Very important with reference to nutrition as well as livelihood. Now we have, like Dr. Vishnu has, Professor Vishnu Sharma ji has told, that we have to make network and bring everyone together. That is, the convergence is necessary. We have pluralistic extension service providers, whether it is central government, state government, with reference to Department of Fisheries, etc., or private. They have sometimes working in parallel and sometimes also duplicating their efforts. But it is clear that public is more towards regulation, then transfer of technology with subsidy-based schemes, and private should be focusing more on entrepreneurship or business models, then NGOs, especially for livelihood programs, and ICR, SAUs, KVKs about knowledge, technology, and technology dissemination. So convergence is the need, but the challenge is to bring convergence also is a big thing, because the unity of command is lacking because everyone is working with a different mandate. So this convergence itself is a difficult thing. So one more thing, we should be talking to youth who can give some disruptive extension methodologies, if innovative, disruptive extension methodology or approach comes into our system, if someone has this kind of idea, so manage or all of us can come together and have some program of brainstorming from the youth to see whether they can come out with some disruptive approach. There are some few papers on disruptive extension approaches. I was just thinking and talking to my younger kids. They said, why don't you have something like relationship managers like you have in banks, like client relationship managers. So I said, yeah, this seems to be a nice idea that every extension officer has a farmer or fishermen or fish farmers as the clients or the customers, and you have to maintain relationship with them by seeing their needs, problems, and then finding the solution or attaching that problem to the concerned department. So that can be thought of, but youth will be able to give something disruptive idea. Not just youth, if anyone can give, anyone who is an innovator can give a disruptive extension methodology. So this is what at present I think convergence is the answer. And if some disruptive technology comes, innovation comes, that would be all the more welcome. With this, these are my comments.
Thank you, Dr. Thank you, Dr. Pita, for talking something about disruptive extension approach. So, because, in the private sector, they are growing very fast because they are very quick on disruption. So, we are a bit slow, but now pressure is there to be disruptive. Dr. Venkatasubramanin, we would like to finally have your views. Dr. Subramanian, please unmute and bless us with your final words.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. It's really a good initiative from Manage and your side that we have to strengthen our this allied sector extension. As our VC sir was pointing out, these are all actually not the allied sector. These are all the main sectors. Because now extension, if you see, these are all the sectors which give the livelihood as well as income security to the farmers or the, you can say, the fishermen. Now, what is the issues which related, now we wanted to take a policy note here is, let us now conclude in this way. Now, partnership. There are so many organizations which are working in the grassroots level. We need to have a tie-up, partnership and linkages. It needs to be strengthened. That partnership should be win-win situation. Because if you see now KVKs, they wanted to now partner with the land department or animal husbandry department. The real issue is the manpower. Now, if you see how many KVKs are having veterinary and extension and horticulture manpower, really it's a very big challenge. Even when I was ADG, we were talking about how many KVKs, only 17 KVKs that time with fisheries. Now also if you see, in this whole zone where Kerala and Karnataka with the coastal ecosystem, I have got only 7 KVKs where fisheries scientists are there. Many of the veterinary positions in the KVKs are vacant. Now, disease management, trans-border diseases as cross-border diseases, now we are talking about one health system and one medicine. Whether plant or animal or anything, we wanted to focus on one health system means the integrated extension or the technology integration is very much important. So, the problem is technology integration. That integration is which level? We wanted to put it in the grassroots level, or we wanted to give it to the industrial sector, or we wanted to give the extension functionaries. These are all the important things. Even when, as you were pointing out earlier, there's a lot of, I can say, ignorance prevailing among the extension functionaries themselves. They are not knowing the recent issues which we are talking about in the national level, the recent problem which their own farmers are facing in the district level. So the sensitization of this extension fraternity is very much important about the national goal and the mission and the programs which is available for the farmers and the local problems which they have to address. This is very, very important, sir. My experience with the grassroots level extension is the ignorance, and they are not keeping abreast with the recent development and the issues which they can focus upon. Especially now you see the country is now eradication of brucellosis and FMD is there. Now the mission mode approach, how we are going to prepare the farmers. You integrated this reproductive management are we focusing upon? the extension in case of these animal husbandry, horticulture and fisheries is different from the one field crops or the other sector. The reason is here the issues which we have to focus is on live animals and value addition as well as with respect to risk management. But there, if you see, that is 3 months and then it is more of input management and more of technology management. Here it is the management of many biotic and abiotic stressors, which is again the changes which is happening into the primary sector. That is affecting this sector. How the extension system is empowered to address this challenge. That is more important. Then this is the one segment where already if you see horticulture segment, already many of the products are branded. If you see the animal husbandry sector, milk is the one which went first into the branding. Poultry is next in the line, and fisheries also. So this branding and the quality management and international, as Madam Arpita was talking about, is export oriented and those forms which are all more concentrating on quality issues related with food safety standard. All these things, how our extension system are having the knowledge or empowerment is the one which I wanted to focus. Now you wanted to strengthen the system means you strengthen the quality of extension functionaries who are in this system catering to the various necessities of the farmer and the system. That is what I wanted to focus upon here, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yeah, very nice point you gave. Quality of extension functionaries. Yes, that is very important issue. And the ignorance of the grassroots level extension functionaries. Very good example you gave of FMD and resources. How much they are prepared. So this is and the partnership you talked about, tie-up linkages. So then these are some points well taken. Put into recommendations. All these things will synthesize well. So thank you very much. Thank you very much, Professor Sharma. Thank you to Dr. Arpita.
Thank you.
So thank you to Dr. Rangnekar, sir. Sir, would you like to say a concluding statement because you are such a senior, very most respectable person? Just in one line, would you like to say before managed people intervene and they say something?
Dr. Mahesh, one thing remains. I want to tell.
Yes, please. Now you are Vishnu Sharma.
Actually, looking to the emergence of the entrepreneurship and industries in the various sectors, not only in the livestock but in agriculture also, I have recommended to the ICR, the Vice Chancellor's Conference, to create a post in each KVK for the agribusiness manager, And that agenda I moved from Rajuwas and that was well accepted and it is now in moving. So we can also put that recommendations into this today's dialogue so that this will find some way effectively.
Nice, sir. Very good. That is actually now to give a business orientation to this one. This is a very important one. That is well taken, sir. We'll include into this one. So, Dr. Rangnekar, sir, are you hearing? Actually, he is not there, it seems. Now, Dr. Sarvanan, I thank on my behalf and behalf of Manoj also. As a moderator, I am grateful that we could do it well. What I believe that if no one else is appreciating, I must appreciate ourselves that we did a good job. Isn't it, Dr. Sarvanan?
No, sir, we are appreciating, sir, because this is a 3-day dialogue. But as already told Professor Vishnu Sharma, sir, and also Dr. Venkatasubramanin and others, it is not the allied sector. If you see all 3 days program, this is one of the biggest team. They are sitting in the very strongest team also, starting from Vice Chancellor and ICR Director from Atari and Joint Director from IVRI and Madam Principal Scientist from CIFE, like that, all the sectors, and also BAIF and consultant expert Dr. Rangnekar, known for veterinary. Maybe probably among all 6 sessions, this may be the one of the very strong and biggest session, and also extended 30 minutes time. That shows your power actually. That's why, this is a very important. That's why Manage always recognizes the allied sector. That's why we have separate center. And also our incubation center, we do a lot with livestock and fisheries incubation and aquaponicip. Even 12 states already we grounded aqua centers. And we love to work with maybe Rajasthan Veterinary University under the Professor Vishnu Sharma ji and other Ataris and CIFE also. We love to work on livestock sector. We already 12 states working with the fisheries and also livestock also. We are doing a lot of entrepreneurship. RKVY, we are one of the knowledge partners. We are promoting large number of startups. Disruptive technologies are coming and startups are coming. we really encourage in the livestock sector. We feel our Director Generals and the earlier Director General also, we encourage more startups in the livestock and fishery sector. And with this note, I thank all the senior professors, starting from Honorable Vice Chancellor Professor Vishnu Sharma ji and Dr. Venkatasubramanin, Director of ICR Attari, Bangalore, and again Professor Dr. Rangnekar, one of the senior most expert in the entire livestock sector. We are known for his all contribution, and most of our manager always is a friend, and our Dr. Magaychandar, and he was taking care in the entire session, and he was identifying the resource persons, and also he is taking care of entire session, and also leading and moderating. And Magaychandar sir always like that. For manage, he is the academic council member, and he is in the journal committee, he is everywhere, and he is also our curriculum committee, whatever there he is there. And thank you, Dr. Magaychandar, first, as always you are very supportive, and always you are partnering with manage. We like to partner with all others, and thank you very much for your time and your recommendations, sir. We are all, entire sessions are recorded, and we will come out with proceedings, and also it is not others to talk something, do something. Manage initiate the actions in these areas. For that only we are making our this dialogue with large number of stakeholders, including ICR, DDG, and other. Yesterday they were there, and also private NGOs also. Yesterday they are talking about community sustainable management systems and digital extension system. Tomorrow we are talking about startups and again agripreneurs, those who are doing some disruptive extension models in all sectors, livestock and fisheries and agriculture. Tomorrow we are having along with climate smart agriculture also morning session. And thank you very much, sir, and we hope to meet you again in some other session. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, Ji. All of you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, bye. Thank you.